All right. Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. And we're going to go ahead and cover tonight our last chapter for this evening. We're going to cover Chapter 9. Of course, practice makes perfect. That's the key point of this chapter. So tonight we're actually going to put what you've learned so far into practice. Okay. So everything that you've learned from this point or from day one to now, we're actually going to put it into practice. Okay. So what we want to start off with, let's go ahead and start off with our learning objectives tonight. Our first learning objective is we're going to complete a sample transaction using these three forms that we've already went through: the 1 to 4 family residential contract, the lead-based paint addendum, and the third-party financing addendum. That'll be our first matter we're going to work with. Our second one is we're going to complete a sample transaction using the forms, which are going to be a 1 to 4 family residential contract, the environmental assessment, threatened or endangered species and wetlands addendum, and the seller financing addendum. And our last contract, we're going to complete a sample transaction using the residential condominium contract resale, the loan assumption addendum, the addendum for backup contract, the addendum for coastal area property, the addendum for property located seaward of the Gulf Intracoastal Waterway, and the addendum for release of liability on assumed loan and or restoration of the seller's VA entitlement. Okay, so our first transaction that we're going to cover this evening, we're going to be going through and discussing the Fleming to Donaldson transaction. Okay, and that can be found in your in the unit. You'll see it under course materials. Make certain that you pull it up. And what we're going to end up doing is I'm actually going to ask for, let's see here. Let me see. Mr. Keith, would you feel up to reading the first transaction, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to let Mr. Keith read to y'all the first transaction. Again, if you don't see it, it's under the course materials. And I will let Keith, whenever he's ready to begin reading, take control, Mr. Keith.
I got you. All right. Donaldson and his wife, Donna, have found a new home they want to make an offer on. They currently, their current home is 1320 New Century Drive in Houston, is a rental, and they are anxious to become homeowners. Because they believe their income can only increase, they have decided to finance their property on an adjustable rate mortgage. They can get an adjustable rate mortgage fixed for 1 year at 5% on conventional financing. The lender has told them the interest rate on the loan cannot adjust for more than 2% a year or 5% over the life of the loan. There is a 1% orientation fee, but no discount deposits. Larry and Marissa Fleming have owned the home the Donaldsons would like to purchase since it was built in 1975. It is in good repair except for 4 fogged windows in the kitchen. The property is located at 3430 Old Master Drive in Houston, Texas, 77056, and is owner occupied. The Donaldsons decide to offer $325,000 for the property. They will be putting 10% down. The loan will include PMI. They will put up $3,500 as earnest money, and $1,500 option fee will be paid to the seller. They have received and reviewed the seller's disclosure. They want 15 days to investigate everything about the property and be able to terminate if they decide to do so. They want the $1,500 to be credited to the sales price at the time of closing. The Donaldsons want the 4 fogged windows in the kitchen to be repaired, and they want to be sure they will be able to put in pool after closing, and they will be able to park their RV in their driveway. They are going to ask the seller to pay for the title policy, but they are willing to pay for a new survey at their expense. They do not feel they need the survey amendment to the title policy. The buyer do not. The buyer do want a residential service contract and are going to ask sellers to reimburse them $425. The listing agent is Tom Price with wonderful properties at 1213 Selmore Street in Houston, Texas, 77056. And you are the selling agent and are with One Selmore Properties at 2033 Wisconsin Avenue, Corsicana, Texas, 75308. You are representing the buyer. Let me scroll down. Okay, give me 1 second. Tim J. Swanson and his wife Sarah J. Swanson will purchase a second home. It is known as Lot 6, Block 8 of the 10th edition of Waco, McAllen County, Texas, 76710. They are willing to pay $73,500 for it if the owner, Samuel A. Johnson, a bachelor, will owner finance $25,000 for a 5-year at 5% annual interest. The buyers will pay monthly interest only until maturity when the principal balance is due. They agree to a due on sale clause in the deed of trust and will provide paid tax receipts by February 1st of each year the loan is outstanding. The Swansons request a title policy insured by Secure Title Company and a new survey showing no encroachments or easements other than 10-foot utility easements at the rear of the lot. The buyers want 10 days of objections to serve a title commitment. The seller will pay for the title policy. The Swansons want to make certain. Hello?
I wanted to let you know, we're going to stop you right there.
Okay.
We're going to save you. I know you're having fun reading, but we're going to stop you. We're going to stop on the first one and work on that one real quick, if that's cool with you.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Did great, though, by the way. Let's give him a round of applause. He kept doing it, going through. Thank you, Mr. Keith. So here is what we're going to do. Mr. Keith did a wonderful job. Everybody had their time, and I appreciate Mr. Keith reading that out for everybody. Now, here's what we're going to do. So, Mr. Keith has read y'all the facts of the first one. He gave you all the facts that you need. Y'all followed along with him. He was nice about doing that for y'all. We greatly appreciate him doing that. Now, what's going to happen is, here's what we're going to do. So as you see here on your screen, we have the 1 to 4 family, the lead-based paint, and the third-party financing it. Okay? So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to bring up my 2 experts, Mr. Stahl and Mr. Grossman. And they're going to end up, they're going to come up here, and what's going to happen is, we're going to pull up the 1 to 4 family. We're actually going to do that real quick, so give me just a second. We're going to pull up the 1 to 4 family. And what we're going to do, here it is right here, Mr. Stahl and Mr. Grossman are going to end up, they are going to go over, and they are going to end up basically asking you, for example, they will say, they may say, Miss Linda, what exactly goes in paragraph 1? So who would be the seller, Miss Linda? And Miss Linda would say such and such. Then Mr. Stahl may say, Mr. Eugene, who's the buyer? And will continue to go through this contract, and you're going to tell Mr. Stahl and Mr. Grossman exactly what's going to go in each paragraph. Now, they're not going to tell you if you are right or wrong. We're just going to fill it out. When it is done, then I will come up here and we'll go through the contract, and I'll tell you if you're correct or if you're incorrect. Okay? So I'm going to turn over the ranks to Mr. Stahl and Mr. Grossman. Gentlemen, if y'all want to ask each other which one wants to man the computer and one calls on people, it's completely up to you. But whoever wants to man the computer will type, the other person will call on people. Okay? All right, so I'm going to step away and I'm going to let these gentlemen take over here. All right.
So where's the part that,
So it's going to be right over here, right over on this screen right here. And if you just minimize, there it is right there.
that's all the,
That's the transaction. Yep.
okay.
All right, here, Mr. Stahl, you don't have to stand up, sir. But you have a chair. There you go. All right, so gentlemen, I'll let you take control.
We don't have to. Oh, you have it over here.
So the parties to this contract are,
Hold on. They're gonna call one.
Well, I was
Oh.
gonna say she was gonna start.
Oh,
If she wants to start, yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
is Larry and Marcy Fleming.
The seller or buyers.
They are the sellers.
Sellers?
So it should be Larry Fleming and Marcy Fleming if you're doing the correct, if you're doing it correctly.
So yeah, type it as they tell you.
Fleming.
I'm very slow typer too.
That's okay. And then Marcy Fleming is his wife.
All right, and who would you say is the buyers for this transaction?
That's gonna be, Troy Donaldson's wife, Donna Donaldson.
You think it's the same way Troy Donaldson and Donna Donaldson? The same thing, all right? All right, and let's see. Mr. Garrett, what would you say would go in on paragraph 2, section A?
Lot, block, and subdivision.
In paragraph 2, section A,
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
the legal description of the property.
What would you put in the blanks there here to fill it out?
Here, let me pull up the. I'm not seeing the lot or block in that paper.
You put-
You got a person
Yes,
here that's
I'll-
got
Can
a.
I help Garrett?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, the lot would be NA, block would be NA, and then it would be 3430 Old Master Drive in Houston, Texas.
All right. Just saying for where it says
And let me say
whereas.
this real quick, everybody. If there's anybody that wants to chime in that you're not called on,
Yeah.
you're more than welcome to
Feel
chime
free
in. Okay?
Is this all the people we have online right here?
You gotta hit the.
Oh, you gotta get the thing.
It would be 3,
Gotcha.
4,
Oh, okay, so there's a lot more than.
Okay, gentlemen, you got somebody?
It's 3430 Old Master Drive.
Where would you put that?
It's
What-
in the, it's right there where the cursor
Right
is,
here?
where, yes, sir, where your finger's
Okay.
at.
Right here.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And the city would be, city of Houston, Texas. And I'll slow down and wait on you. Okay. Okay, city of Houston.
Who else we got? Someone else to answer.
Okay. Garrett, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, Garrett, what would we put in the county of right here in 2A?
Harris.
But we know that.
All right, and down here below. See, Leela, what do you think goes there?
Well, I'm under the impression it has address and zip code and it's known as. I don't know if that's correct,
Yeah,
but I was gonna say zip code, but I don't know.
Type what they're saying. They're telling you it's 34, she's telling you the address, 3430 Old Master.
Yeah, I would say the address.
Yeah.
So you put the address again?
Well, so Miss Leela,
Sometimes they do.
Miss Leela, let me ask you a question now.
Okay.
Do you think Miss Linda is correct in regards to where she has the current address? Would you agree or disagree with Miss Linda?
I do not want to disagree with Miss Linda.
Are you sure?
That's a good answer.
Are you
That's a
sure?
good answer.
That's not where it goes. Miss Linda is incorrect.
Yeah, I mean,
So Miss Leela, her husband is currently disagreeing with her.
Oh, okay.
They're still together.
So,
There's-
and Miss Leela,
I've been listening to Miss Linda and I have learned to just listen to Miss Linda.
yeah,
This time you gotta disagree.
she's got it down. She knows.
unfortunately, Miss Leela, you're right.
Yeah.
And for Miss Linda, it's unfortunate for her because you are right. 3430 Master, where Miss Linda put it, is incorrect. That should be in A because there is no addition. So we don't have the addition.
Okay.
So it should be lot, block, and where you got 3430 should be NA as well.
Okay.
And Miss Leela is correct in regard.
Actually, I think that was Mr. Keats. Somebody else said it. I was just saying put the zip code down. But
Yeah, that was me.
yeah, I thought so. But so
Whatever
Mr.
said
Keats
it-
had that right.
That is correct.
Okay, so
but-
am
and
I
she's-
correcting it right now?
Yeah, go on and correct it.
But I see them never have adjusted. That's not good.
That's not right.
And the zip code.
And make sure she said zip code
Yeah.
right down there.
Right. Sorry.
This is zip code.
77056.
Yes.
All right, there you go.
All right, moving down.
Okay.
Exclusions.
All right, so I will give you a little hint. Remember in exclusions, like we talked about, these are things that the seller wants to take with them. So when you read through the thing that Mr. Keith read, was there anything in that entire little thing where they talked about the seller wanted to take anything from the property? So give you just a minute. We're not going to rush it unless somebody knows. If somebody knows, go on and let Mr. Grossman know.
The Donaldsons, they wanted the 4 fogged windows in the kitchen to, oh wait, hold on.
Okay, you're
Exclusions would be what the people buying the house want to take, correct?
not with the buyers,
Or
with
the people selling?
Sellers.
With
So
the
the
sellers.
sellers want to keep. It's the
Oh,
stuff
okay.
B and C that the sellers don't want to convey with that.
So what Mr. Eugene, Mr. Stahl, Mr. Eugene and Ms. Linda.
NA?
And then,
No? Yes, sir.
always
I'm not
arguing.
telling you if it's right.
Oh, they're always arguing with a couple.
That's right. That's our job.
Okay, so NA there.
You got, well, hold on, ask,
Yeah,
ask,
anybody else?
Does
ask,
anybody else think anything else?
do they agree or disagree with you? because it's a team effort.
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
Everything's good? All right.
All right. So they have proceeded forward. So, all right, Mr. Travis, let you take it.
All right, sales price. So remember, section A is the cash portion, B is all the financing, and C is the total price. What would, let's see here. Mr. Keith, what would you, what would you put in, let's say section A for just the cash portion?
I would put in the total of the 3,500 and the would it be
Keith, you sound a little
5,000?
Yeah, you sound real muffled, Mr. Keith.
Give me one second. Can you hear me now?
Oh, a little.
Give me one second.
If you want, Mr. Keith, if we can't hear you, you can use the chat box and type in what you think the.
You guys hear me?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I would put 5,000 in there. Would that be correct? I just took the earnest money and the options money for the cash down.
Okay,
But
so
it says they will be putting 10% down.
That's right.
That's what I said.
I agree with.
Okay.
32,000.
So would it be 3200?
I agree with Leila as well.
Yeah, she's right.
32,500.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say, 32,500.
That's okay.
Okay. And which of the boxes do you think we'll be checking for 3B? Loan assumption, seller's financing, third party addendum.
Third party financing
Third party,
addendum.
yeah.
Okay, one that says third party, anybody else?
Me, same thing.
He's also.
They do have a title company, right? Isn't somebody helping them?
Well, we're not there quite yet, Leela. We're still on 3B.
I was trying to figure out who's the third party financing people. I guess it's not on here.
That would be the ones
Let me see.
that's giving the money, if the third party, they're financing.
Yeah, so what it says is they're getting a loan.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Loan assumption too.
What is, may I ask, what is PMI?
Private mortgage insurance.
Ah, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're, Ms. Linda, you are right again.
So we did third party?
Is that what everybody else thinking?
Seller financing is when the seller is going to be they're basically getting a loan from the seller.
Right.
And loan assumption is when you have a mortgage on the house and you're just passing that on to the next buyers.
That is right.
So if they're getting a loan for the house themselves from a third party, then do the third party finance.
So the sales price is the sum of the.
Okay, and line 3B.
So the,
You might have to do some math for that one.
yeah. So 32, 200. So.
Okay, does anyone have,
Do it, man.
I guess, yeah, I'll give them a second to do the math.
So I'm gonna give a real quick hint to everybody real quick.
Go ahead and do C.
Yeah, go, Travis, what's the hint about C real quick?
I would say go ahead and do line C.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do line C, it'll make that line B a little bit easier.
Right. 325,000.
Yeah.
25,000, anybody else?
325,000. Everybody agree with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
How about you, Garrett?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I agree with you.
Okay, thank you, Garrett. Wanted to make sure you're awake up there.
292, 500.
292.
292, 500, anybody else got anything else?
No.
All right,
292.
they're doing good tonight.
That math works out for me.
There you go. They're doing good.
That's the worst part.
All right.
Okay, license holder disclosure.
That'll come a little left. Let's see.
Yeah, does anybody have anything, do they know what would go in paragraph 4 here on the line there for the license holder disclosure?
Is anybody related to anybody in here
This
that's an
is
agent?
where if you are related to the broker, to the agent, anything, that's where that would be disclosed at. Is that correct?
That is correct. So is there anybody, was there any relationships in this transaction? Where an agent was related to somebody?
No.
Keith, what do you think?
Everyone says no.
Person says no.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
So what if we put it
All
as
right.
no?
I agree with Keith.
All right. So you
Yes, you put
NA?
NA.
All right.
put NA. Very good.
You don't ever leave anything blank.
All right. Earnest money.
Okay. What I said that earnest money.
Jared, you got anything for me for earnest money?
Is it 35?
3,500.
3,500. All right.
Everybody agree? I heard Miss Leela. She said 35
You just-
too.
Seller.
I'm sorry.
Miss Leela's
You're
on it.
doing great. Y'all all are.
I understand the money part.
Hey, that's what we need to make sure. Okay,
All right, next
that's
line.
to the title. Where's the
To the seller.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Garrett,
Yeah.
I dispute that because I think that's where the title company goes in at.
Oh, I see. No,
Oh.
the option fee
Yeah.
goes to the seller.
That's good.
So the question you need to ask yourself is, if you look at the next line or the next few words there, escrow agent.
As escrow agent.
So do you see anywhere in there in your deal that you're reading that doesn't say escrow agent, that somebody's serving as an escrow agent? If you don't, then what Miss Linda said is correct.
So NA.
The title company, we gotta find the title company.
So you gotta find out, is there a title company or an escrow agent in your
Well, it says, it doesn't mean, when you say escrow agent, doesn't mean that's the closer?
That would be the closer, yes ma'am.
Okay, then it says Larry Spencer at ABC Title Company.
There you
There
go. Do y'all agree with Miss Leela?
Where do you see that at, Leela?
I agree with him.
At the
I agree with
very
her.
bottom of the first one, I had to flip mine because everything's all
Yeah.
flipped.
Oh, okay, it's right here then. ABC
Yeah.
title company.
So y'all agree with Miss Leela?
Yes, I
All
agree.
right, there you go. So now, Miss Leela, the question comes to you is, did they give an address for Mr. Larry Spencer?
Yes, it does. It's AB, well, sorry, the address
Yeah.
is
That's
1219 Gold Ridge.
All right, do y'all see that, guys? It's on
you-
the second page.
Yes, it keeps rolling.
Second page, you gotta flip it.
So do you say the whole thing when it says ABC Title Company and the address, or you just put the address?
Just the address only. That's a good question.
Okay.
Okay, well, did you put ABC with Larry Spencer?
No.
That will be down below.
That
goes
comes
further-
down on the
that
next
goes
one.
To the title.
So
company.
Mr. Eugene just asked Miss Leela, he said, do we put ABC title next to Larry Spencer? And like I told him, that is incorrect. That's gonna go somewhere else, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
Miss Leela was right there. You just put the escrow in.
That's where the earnest money goes.
Yeah. When Linda moved to the second page, I was like, oh, it's on the second page. Okay, so before we move along, now Travis, what's the next one?
Yeah, and it says buyer shall deliver additional earnest money of blank. That's very within blank days. Does anything have to go in those ones?
Y'all see anything else about escrow money needing other than what you already got with that 3,500?
The only thing I see is that $1,500, but I don't think it goes there.
Okay.
Does it?
Anything else there?
No other earnest money?
Mr. Keith or Mr. Colton or Mr. Garrett or Aaron or anybody?
I agree with Miss Linda. I see the 1,500, but I don't think it goes there.
I think it would be NA.
What did Leela say?
The only thing I said was I did see the 1,500.
There's that other 1,500, but she doesn't need those in these ones.
All right, 6, title policy and survey.
Here's your. All right. Does anybody have anything they want to add as far as this paragraph 6 here? Title policy: seller shall furnish to buyer at blank expense. And remember, when you're filling this out as a buyer. So you want it to be as favorable to the buyer as possible.
So what do y'all think? Check seller or buyers?
Seller.
Seller?
Say seller?
He said seller?
Yes.
All right.
All right, and who knows what goes here?
ABC Title Company.
Okay.
So Miss Linda, you're doing good. I'm gonna ask you to back down a little because I want to try to get some of the other people here. You're doing good, but
I'm just
I
confused
know.
about something.
I want Mr. Eugene to keep going, but I want to give my people online a chance too. I want you to still look, but let's give them a chance. Now, Mr. Grossman, did they tell you to put that there?
Oh, yep, no, yep, sorry. What goes there? I don't know.
Go ahead.
How would I know?
You act like you've done that before.
I mean, it
Sure
says
did.
parentheses, Justin.
I know, but some people are just kept scrolling. So of course, go on and enter it now.
That's why we want to do it, is because we're so used to forgetting about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Who remembers?
It's now ingrained in my
Listen
brain.
in class.
Now, Mr.
You need to
Grossman,
correct that.
your drive is
that
incorrect there, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And that's still not correct.
Nope.
I was getting to that.
Can't even put a comma.
Justin, quit. Quit.
You don't have to.
He's doing his best. You put him on the
The comma
spot.
goes
Who's
after.
testing who
No,
now?
there's another one after these two.
Yeah.
There you go.
You have 2 commas in there.
Yeah, if you want to sit the computer, that's fine.
All right, there you go.
Mhm.
All right, so ask them about 8. Now, Miss Linda, you can help on this one because I know it's not going to be open.
And this is still under title policy and survey.
Yes. So let's ask Miss Leela. Miss Leela, what do you
No.
think goes?
You don't want to, man. You don't want to.
What does Miss Leela think for 8?
I'd like to phone a friend.
Miss Leela, would you like to use Miss Linda here? We see if she gets it right.
Yes, please.
Okay, Miss Linda, here you go.
What you got
I
for me?
think.
All right, Miss Linda, help Miss
box
Leela out.
1.
What is that, Garrett?
I think we should check box 1.
Box 1?
Box 1.
Okay.
All right, we got somebody saying box 1. Can we ask why, Garrett?
I don't see anything in that page that we read that has anything to do with box 2.
Okay, so
That's,
that's his reason, okay?
Okay.
Travis, do you want to ask anybody else agrees or disagrees?
Yeah, does anybody else have anything else they want to either agree or disagree with that, or anything else?
I agree with the first box.
Leela, I would agree.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Garrett.
Okay, everybody. All right.
First box.
Okay, Mr. Eugene, do you agree?
Yes.
All right. So they're going to agree with that. So, okay, go ahead.
All right, the next thing we have is paragraph C there, survey. So So survey must be, survey, let's see, must be made and by the registered professional land surveyor acceptable to the title company and buyers lenders. Which box should we check on this right here?
Pick somebody to call on there, Mr. Travis.
All right,
Pick one
let's
person.
see. Mr. Colton.
Mr. Colton, what do you think, sir?
For which one? C1?
So for survey,
You think
there's
one?
3 choices.
Yes.
Which one do you think's the correct one, sir?
Let me read here. I think it's box 1.
One.
Okay. Everybody agree?
Anybody else got anything else?
I agree.
2.
And then does anybody know we should put in that first blank within blank days?
I want to say 3.
3. All right. So we have somebody that says 3. Do y'all agree?
Anyone else?
I agree.
Colton agrees.
All right. And then down here, you have to check this box down here as well, at the very bottom where it says new survey at seller's or buyer's expense no later than 3 days prior to the closing date. Which box should we check there?
Sellers?
Sellers?
Okay.
All right. Remember, as you're filling this out, you are a buyer in the situation of filling this form out. So you want to make it as
So
nice for them as possible.
before you move, Stefan, does everybody agree with what's been done?
I agree.
I think that's right.
Good. All right. So what's next, Mr. Travis?
D, objections.
All right, so buyer may object in writing to defects, exceptions, or encumbrances to title. Is anybody, let's see here.
Call Mr. Darren.
Yeah, see, Mr. Darren, what would you put in this blank here on paragraph D?
Mm,
I don't know if he heard you. Mr. Darren, what do you think goes in box D?
It will be typing.
No, he
I don't have my stuff pulled open to go over any of that
Okay.
information.
Okay, that's fine. So should we call him Miss Linda, Mr. Darren?
I'll call him Miss Linda. Come on, girl.
Okay, Darren, now.
I like him.
Okay. So Eugene and I was looking, and he is stating the 4 fogged windows in the kitchen to be repaired,
Okay.
and they want to be sure they will be able to put in a pool after closing.
Yeah, well, I can't fit all that in the line. What do you
And
think
they
goes
will
there?
be able to park their RV, that doesn't matter.
Wouldn't the 4 windows in the pool be an amendment?
True, that's right, Garrett.
So Mr. Garrett, what will go in objections?
I don't see any objections on that page that we read.
Mr. Colton, do you see any objections?
Those are 2.
No, sir.
Miss Leela?
NA,
no, I don't.
So
NA,
So NA.
NA.
Alright. Now, here's actually the correct thing, I'll tell you real quick. The correct thing is you would actually put in there residential and or rental usage,
Okay.
okay? And you would normally put, because you also don't have objections, you would also normally put in the next blank 10 days, okay? So Mr. Grossman's gonna type it in. It's residential and or rental usage. And that basically is saying if title says that I cannot rent out my property, okay, or live in my property, I can get out of the contract within 10 days after when I receive the title commitment, okay?
Is that considered standard?
Yes, ma'am, that is considered standard.
And all that basically does is cover you in case you do buy a property thinking, you know, I want to live in this house for 10 years, and they go, well, you actually can't live there. It's not a resident, like,
It's
title says
commercial
that's-
now.
Yeah, it's a commercial district. You can't actually live there.
That's correct.
All it does is cover you for that.
Yes.
Hmm.
So 10 days, put 10 there, and then let's move on to the next one.
So that would be on every contract that we write.
That is correct,
Yes.
Mr. Dare. So I'll give you a quick little hypothetical. I know we're tight on time tonight, but in Bryan College Station, they want to try to keep college kids kind of in certain areas of town. So what they end up doing in College Station is they will only allow no more than 2 unrelated individuals in a house. So this rental usage part right there is ending up, we want to make certain that when we're dealing with that rental part is we want to say, Darren, you're buying a place to rent for 5 people and they're all unrelated and it's in a neighborhood that only allows 2 people, you want to be able to bag out so that you don't have to be forced to purchase a house in that particular situation that's in that district.
Hmm.
All right.
I know another example.
Makes sense.
There's also some places that just don't allow, they don't want rental properties because they think they're not as high up as residential houses, so they don't want you to rent out your place.
Oh, hello, Mr. Keith.
Whereas for example, my mom
You're on
lived in
mute.
a house, lived there for a few years, and then rent it out after that and just make money off the income from people renting it. And so this would be something that if they say, well, you can't actually rent that property, well, she isn't going to want it, even if she's not renting it right off the bat.
That is correct. All right, go ahead to the next one.
Moving down.
He has,
He's got the address. He's moving down. He's not there yet.
good
I'm
job.
just gonna copy paste.
There you go.
That's a good idea.
All right, but
You
he's
just
getting
missed
ahead of
something.
himself. Go ahead and hit paste. But you still missed that one right above you there, Stephen. So call on somebody and see what they think E2 is.
I would say it's not.
Miss Leela says it's not,
Okay.
I agree.
and Mr. Eugene agrees with Miss Leela. So go ahead and check. Does everybody agree?
Mr. Darren agrees with Ms. Leela.
All right, then let's move along. Keep going. You remember that's just your page of notices.
Address.
Your addressing, he's already missing that address there. There you go.
That's why I copied and pasted.
Keep going. All right, so very important, Mr. Travis.
All right, so that's property condition. Paragraph 2, seller's disclosure notice. So here we're gonna just basically, let's see. You know what, I'll just open this up. Does anybody know which box we would check for the seller's disclosure notice on section B here?
Box 1.
Box 1?
That's one. Okay.
How many agree with him?
Could you share with me, Mr. Garrett, how you came to that?
Mr. Garrett, Miss Leela would like to know how you came to your conclusion, sir.
And
Well, if we're
paragraph
writing up a
3,
contract-
right after it says the option fee, it says they have received and reviewed the seller's disclosure.
Oh, okay.
I gotta agree with Mr. Garrett.
All right.
Mr. Eugene, Miss Linda, y'all agree?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
I agree as well.
perfect. Mr. Keith agrees too. Perfect. Now, Mr. Keith, I want to ask you a question. What's the next box? What do you check for D, sir? For acceptance of property condition.
Okay, give me 1 sec. Alrighty, acceptance, buyer accepts the party. I would check. Acceptance the property is provided as sellers. I would check 2.
2.
Check 2.
Yes, sir.
If you're checking 2, what would you put in that line there?
I would put the repairs of the windows they brought up.
Oh, so here's something interesting. Mr. Keith saying put the windows here. Mr. Garrett, earlier you and Miss Linda said in an addenda. There's a little conflict here. So let's see here. Mr. Garrett, do you still stand by that, or now do you change your decision and agree with Mr. Keith?
I agree with Mr. Keith because it says they have, it doesn't say that they got a inspection done yet.
So basically, I would agree with you. At this point, they're asking for these to be done at the time of the contract.
Yes.
So at this point, that is correct. Mr. Keith, you are on track and you are correct here, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Keith, would you read out the 4 fog windows and what else there was, sir?
Okay, let me find it. It was in good repair, except the 4 fog windows in the kitchen. That was it.
Yep. Oh, Miss
That was
Lisa?
it.
I didn't think that had anything to do with it. I could be wrong.
On which one? Say that again. We lost you there, Miss Leela.
And they said in the particular paragraph that they wanted to be able to put a pool after closing and be able to
Okay.
park their RV in the driveway.
Okay, I see that too.
I don't know. Would you put something as far as the pool and stuff in there?
Paragraph you. Oh, here we go. Let's see here.
I think what they're talking about there is they're wanting to make sure.
It's in the 4th paragraph now.
Okay, I see it right there where you're talking about. Miss Leela, you're on track. However, in this particular situation, these are only going to be for repairs and treatments. So
Yeah.
hold on to what you're saying because you're on to something, but not in this paragraph.
And also,
Okay.
the stuff that they said they want done at time of contract. If you're wanting to put a pool in after you close, you don't want them to put a pool in before you buy the house. That's not really what you're requiring.
So we're just keeping that 4 fog
We're
windows?
just going to do 4 fog windows in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What goes here? Anybody know?
Oh, that's what it is.
Okay.
You're right. Stay where you are. There you go. All right, Mr. Let's see, Mr. Colton. What's in H?
Let me look.
Hmm.
You want to help Mr. Colton out, Mr. Eugene?
Sure. 425.
Mr. Colton, Mr. Eugene saying 425. Do you agree?
425.
425.
We're still on the first page, right? The Donaldsons.
Yeah, we're on the first transaction. Yes, sir.
Okay. So wouldn't it be 325?
So we have a 325 here, Mr. Eugene.
Service
Okay.
contract.
Because they offered 325 for the property, correct?
Oh, that's what you're talking about. No.
So Mr. Colton, he's actually going to be correct. It's going to be 425. Mr. Eugene, where is that in the contract or in the deal so Mr. Colton can find it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph. Buyers do-
Say a little louder so Mr. Colton can hear you.
Let's see, 5th paragraph, the buyers do want.
Okay. I see where it's at.
All right, he got it.
Yeah. Okay.
So 425. Perfect. Perfect. All right, Mr. Travis, who are you going to pick next for a closing?
All right, Mr. Darren, what would you say as far as the closing goes? The closing of the sale will be on or before what blank? What would you put in those blanks?
I don't have any of my stuff pulled open,
Oh,
so
that's
I'm limited on information. I'm participating.
So do we push this to Mr. Eugene now?
Oh, let's do that.
I think I'd like to call on Linda.
Okay.
What have I done to you?
You're doing great, thank you.
Love you, Ma.
I love you too, Darren. Okay.
All right, Miss Linda, you've been called.
You know, I think I can help.
All right,
Thank
go
you,
for it.
Leela.
All right.
Let's see what
At the bottom of the first page, it says closing will be at the end of next.
We're losing you, Miss Leela.
Yeah, you're breaking up. All right, Linda, you got it.
Well, hold on. Miss Leila, can you say a little bit louder?
I thought it was saying, can you hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Okay, it was saying the closing will be at the end of next month.
Okay. So
Is that right?
end of next month, did they give you a date anywhere in the contract? Or in the deal? Did you see any dates?
This is her address, the phone numbers, and
So
email
there's no
address.
dates. So here's what's going to happen. Miss Leila is correct.
Yep.
So what we're going to classify is we're going to go in and use today's date as our closing. So next month, so let's do 1 month out from today. And what would that be, Mr. Travis? February. And what's today's date?
I don't know.
15th. So it'd be February 15th, 2021.
Not how you spell
But
February.
R.
There is an R there.
Okay, that's not, I thought it was like February.
And 15th.
You have to put
15th after
15.
February.
Oh, wrong one.
No, that's 21. That's
Well,
21.
we're not,
Put 2-1 there.
He said 1 month today.
And do after
you
February
have to
15th.
put the 15th after
He's doing,
15th.
that's what he's doing that year.
There you go.
That's what I thought he was.
Perfect. All right, scroll on down. All right, possession. So let's come back over here to Miss Linda since she didn't want to end up doing the last one.
Yeah.
Miss Linda, what goes in 10 here?
And if you need help, you can't get it.
That's not fair. When I can't see the screen very well.
All right, seller shall deliver to buyer's possession of the property in its present or required condition, ordinary wear and tear expected. And there's a box upon closing and funding, or according to a temporary residential lease form promulgated by TRIC.
So the question is the buyer wanting to take possession of the property after they close and fund? Or does the buyer want to take possession earlier before closing and move in before they close?
I don't remember reading that.
So they want any notes to be sent to their agents.
Got it from this one.
Anybody know?
Permission will be at closing and funding the party if they want to meditate if the situation.
Mr. Colton, what are you thinking over there, sir? It's quiet.
Very quick. I think they're reading the whole thing over.
That's what Linda's doing. It's you. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm just doing it.
It would be upon closing and funding, correct?
Upon closing and funding. Everybody agree with that?
Do they agree with that?
I would
I
agree.
think I agree with that.
I agree.
with that one.
Okay.
And I would agree with that as well.
All right, moving down.
We forgot number 11. Special
Special
provisions.
provisions?
Is there anything there?
I didn't see the lines.
No lie. You know,
Does anybody know what goes there?
Miss Leela,
What goes there?
you ready?
Huh.
So here we go. If y'all remember something
Oh,
earlier, there you go.
is that where that pool thing goes?
Yes, it is.
That's right.
Yes, it is. Miss Leela is correct here. This is where we're making a factual statement
But they want-
is what they're asking for. So Miss Leela is correct. This is where that provision about the pool goes in. Okay? Because they're wanting to make certain that they can end up put a pool into this property as well as an RV. Okay? So Mr. Grossman, can you type that in from what it said on there about the pool? You see it?
know how to word it for them.
You're gonna say the Donaldson, or the Donaldsons. Yes, the Donaldsons are the buyers, the buyers.
Oh, wait.
So put the buyers. Would like to put a pool in and be able to park RV on, or in driveway.
Actually, I have a question. Is that just basically
So
back
this,
checks with making sure there's nothing against doing that?
that's correct.
Before they.
So what happens here, Mr. Travis is right. So what happens here is if you want to put a pool or an RV, there's certain setbacks in your survey, okay? So what happens is when title gets this contract, title actually reads through this contract. They're going to see this portion about you putting seller's disclosure in here, the special provisions, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're going to go through this, and at title, they're going to look for, is there anything against this? And if there is, they'll flag it on the title. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Miss Leila, does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Is there anything else that needs to go on special provisions? No?
I say no.
No.
All right.
Do y'all agree?
I agree.
I agree.
All right.
Yes,
Gary?
ma'am.
I second that.
There you
Okay,
go.
Colton, did he say?
All right. So next one, Mr. Stahl.
All right, so settlement and other expenses. So here we got the expenses payable by the seller. And then section B, or paragraph B here, it says seller shall also pay an amount not to exceed blank to be applied in the following order. Buyer's expenses which buyer is prohibited from paying by FHA, VA, Texas Veterans Landlord. Blah, blah, blah. Does anybody know what would go in that blank right here in section B?
So is there anywhere in the contract that that the buyers wants the sellers to give them money for repairs?
Throw in some extra money.
Exactly.
I don't see anything.
And if Keith says he doesn't see anything,
I'll leave it.
Mr. Eugene doesn't see anything, he agrees.
So nothing?
DNA?
I don't see anything either.
And Mr. Colton doesn't see any.
So NA?
I agree.
They agree, so you're going to put NA in that blank. All right.
Did Garrett agree?
Garrett, do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
He agrees too. Very good. All right, let's move along.
Prorations, counts laws, equals. Escrow.
Oh, here we go.
Not the fun part.
Travis, go for it. Pick somebody.
Ooh. All right. Mr. Eugene. All right, so notices. All notices, one party to the other must be in writing and are effective when mailed to, hand delivered at, or transmitted by fax or electronic transmission as follows. You are, the Donaldsons are the buyer in this situation. So what will we put right here with to buyer?
So we, the Troy Donaldson and Donna Donaldson.
You would say Troy and Donna Donaldson?
Yeah, they're the buyers.
All right. Does everybody agree with that?
Which one, Troy Donaldson?
Yes.
It should be Troy Donaldson. Because it has to agree with what we started up at the top.
Yeah, and then Donna Donaldson.
Do everybody agree with that?
D-O-N-N-A.
Yes.
They agree with that?
Phone number, fax, and email. Is there any emails provided in there for us?
That's Tom. This is Troy. I don't see them.
We have Tom's telephone number.
Tom's.
We have his fax and email address.
That would be they're asking for the buyer though, ain't they? The buyer's phone number? Or is it-
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. It's supposed to be Troy.
So they don't have.
So that one,
I don't see.
okay, does anybody know what goes there?
That's the title.
So I'm seeing.
If there's not.
So if it's not there, are we putting
NA or what?
the agent? No.
So
Are you able, like that care of that Justin talked about?
Yes.
you would put that there, but
Is
we're
that where that goes?
Yes, ma'am. You would put that there, but tonight we're just gonna do NA since it's not provided.
If you
Okay.
put it for their agent, you would have their phone number and fax.
Yeah.
You would put the care of course,
Throw that in there.
but there's information you would have, paper's not getting basically.
All right.
All right, 22.
Ooh, the fun.
That's sort of addendums.
Yes.
I say let's throw Mr. Garrett under the bus real quick. What does Mr. Garrett think of 22?
You're under the bus.
It's always a good way to start the answer.
It's okay, I usually say that when I see this paragraph.
Mr. Garrett, should we bring Miss Leela and Miss Lindy in to help you?
Yes, sir.
No.
Miss Leela?
What did she say?
You're like, nope.
Okay, so guys, is number 22, Stefan, can you scroll back to the very top where the, to the third, of the, basically to the first part, first sheet?
First page.
Yes, first page. All right, scroll down. Scroll down. Okay, guys, right there, do you see number 3? Do you see B? We checked it. So that has to be checked and scroll back down to 22. Number 22 and put a check in that box.
Saying third party financing.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Would y'all agree with that, guys?
Yes, I agree.
Yes, I agree.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
agree as well.
We have any other addendums going in?
Did we do anything else, guys?
Nope.
As far as we
Okay.
know, they're not authorizing hydrostatic testing,
Right.
so we should be good.
That's right. Now, no, the other, we did not, okay, so can you scroll back up, please, just a little bit, where we were talking about the pool and all that stuff on?
Back to the special provision.
Special provision, okay. Okay, so no, don't worry about it.
We're good, go ahead.
And also remember, guys, as far as we know, this house, we don't know the information about this house. We're just taking it off the fact that it's built after 1978. So you
Right,
don't have to worry about the lead-based paint or anything like that, because that's not specified in that.
that is,
It's built in 1975.
Oh, does it say 1975?
okay, so then we
All right.
have to put the, then we have to do the
Lead-based too.
lead-based paint,
All right, so just,
yes.
Yeah.
Because anything,
and Stefan, it did say it was built in 1975, so we do need to check that lead-based paint.
mhm. Anything that was built January 1st,
It's on the right.
There, there you go. Oh, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
it's the second paragraph, guys.
So, yeah. Built in
Or-
1975, I saw that.
If you want to check Miss Nobles, you look at your PowerPoint. Your PowerPoint told you the 2 addendums.
Well, yeah, the lead vest and the third party addendum,
There you
we
go.
got
Mhm.
them.
When he said it was not after, I remember it said 1975, I read that.
There you go.
Okay, so that's all we do there on number
Yeah.
22.
Okay, go ahead.
Do y'all agree with me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
Yes, ma'am.
all right.
All right, termination option.
All right, Garrett, you gotta come back and save yourself, redeem yourself here.
I can try.
Yes, so the termination option. Receipt of which is hereby acknowledged by seller, buyer's agreement to pay seller blank, which is the option fee. Where in there, does it say anything about an option fee or an option payment in there at all?
Yes, 1,500.
$1,500.
I agree.
All right, Miss Lily, you were talking about that earlier with the earnest money. That's where this would go, the actual option money.
That's in paragraph 3.
And Mr. Garrett, how many days?
How many days?
15.
Okay,
I agree.
all right, agree with that?
I do.
And Mr. Garrett, you're still not finished yet. Last one.
It will be credited.
There you go. Very good job, Mr. Garrett.
Good,
I
good.
agree.
Now, ask if everybody agrees. Everybody gets a vote.
Everybody good?
Yes.
Agreed.
All right.
Okay.
And also, where as a buyer, you always want that. You always want that shit.
All the time through the bottom. All right, Travis, who's the next person? You go pick one, sir.
I think we should do Miss Linda.
Oh, Miss Linda. I like this one.
I would go with Keith because he just said,
Hey, Mr.
Oh,
Keith.
okay,
Mr. Keith.
she's getting.
Mr. Keith, it will be
All right.
easy for you, sir.
Okay, I'm ready. What's going on?
Section 24, consult attorney before signing. What would you put as far as the buyer's attorney? Do you have any information on that?
Let's see. Let me do a quick scan of that. I don't see anything about an attorney.
I agree with you, Mr. Keith.
Okay, so we weren't given the information. What do we put in?
You know,
NA.
Correct.
We gotta do the sellers. Was there a seller's attorney mentioned?
We don't pull that up.
We don't know.
Oh, we're done
Yeah,
with
we don't know
buyers.
the
Okay,
person.
buyers, that's right.
We don't do that.
All right.
That's right.
So everybody agree with that? We're all good?
Good.
All right.
All right, executed. Does anybody know the date of execution?
be today. Just want to we put down 1 month from today.
Right, okay, so we got today.
Do they agree?
15.
Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Oh, Miss Lee.
Yes.
Garrett agreed.
Okay.
Everybody else,
Everyone
Colton,
says
you
the
agree?
fif-
Don't
everyone
look
says
at
the
me.
15th, right?
You gotta agree with
That's
this.
what we put.
15th of January.
15. I thought it was scheduled.
Colton, do you
Oh,
agree?
close it again.
I agree. I agree.
Agrees.
How about,
agree.
Colton agrees.
Okay.
So 15th of
15th of
January.
January, 2021.
Okay.
15th
January
January
2021.
2021. Very good. Okay. Go down.
Sign.
Yep, they would sign. And then what happens? Now are we done, guys and gals, or is there more information?
scroll down.
There's always more.
Oh,
That's right.
Always.
Oh. So here we go. Let's start with Mr. Keith first. Mr. Keith, I got a question. Do you see any agents in the hypothetical? Do you see an agent in the hypothetical, sir?
No.
There's no real estate agent?
I disagree.
I disagree.
Oh, yes. There is. Yes.
Okay. Do you see
This.
do you see the seller's agent, the person that's representing the seller,
Seller or listing agent?
or a listing agent, seller or listing agent?
Yes.
Okay. Now here's the key thing.
Tom Price.
here's the key thing. If it's Mr. Price, is he the selling or is he the listing agent?
The same.
I would say he's the listing agent.
I agree with
They
you.
agree. So he's the listing agent. So Mr. Grossman is the listing agent. So who is Mr. Price with? What broker is Mr. Price with?
He's with Wonderful Properties.
Okay, so Mr. Grossman, where does that go, sir? There you go. He's with Wonderful Properties. That's fine. And the agent is going to be the listing associate. So put Tom Price in listing associate. Okay. And we don't have a license number, I'm being told.
No.
We don't.
Okay.
Which you would never want.
Okay, the email address,
Okay.
Is tomprice@gmail.com.
Okay.
Their phone number?
713-276-4799. 276-4799. Great job.
Okay. Do we have a supervisor?
Do we have an office address for that?
Do you have an address or a broker?
Yes.
You do.
Right here.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
What's the address or broker?
2033 Winston Avenue.
What's the county, Texas?
Avenue?
Wait,
Nope, don't put your full thing
Wait
in there.
now.
Underneath, that's it.
Wait, now, what is that listing broker?
I'm getting confused.
You get, okay, Miss, hold on here, hold on, here we go. So Miss Leela's getting confused, so we need to pull her in. So, Miss Leela, where are you getting confused, ma'am?
There are two addresses up here
Okay,
and two different, one is Wonderful Properties, one is I sell more properties. The Wonderful Properties is 1213 Selmore Street.
ah,
The one that says I sell more properties is the Winston Avenue.
so Mr. Keith, do you agree with that change?
Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I didn't. Yes.
Okay, so we need to make that change.
Thank you, Miss Linda.
Oh, Miss Leela called you there.
Oh, Miss Leela. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So let me explain something real quick while we got this opportunity. Now, had Mr. Tom Price represented both parties, we would have checked the very top box that says seller and buyer as intermediary. However, because he is not representing both parties and there's two brokerages, we would check box 2 because he's only going to be representing as the seller's agent, meaning he represents the seller only. And since we check box 2, we don't have to complete the bottom portion where it says selling associate. Okay. So in this situation, when you check box 2, that means you're going to go on and jump over to the box to the left and complete all of that on the left side. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes.
All right, good. So,
I got it.
Mr. Travis, do you want to pick on somebody other than Mr. Keith that could give you the information for that one right behind you, directly behind you?
All right, let's see. Mr. Garrett, Can you find is there any information on the buying agent? Or anybody representing?
Yes.
Okay, what's the firm name?
There is no name because it says that you are the selling agent.
Okay.
But it's with I Sell More Properties.
So I Sell More Properties is gonna be the
That would
firm.
actually be the firm name.
Yeah, that would
And I don't see a license number.
Who's your agent?
It says you are the selling agent.
Oh, so in this situation, you're just gonna put you are. And then associate's name, put you. Okay, and do you have any, Mr. Garrett, do you have any email, phone number, or any of that stuff, sir?
I don't see one on the page.
Perfect. So on the exam, just FYI, on the exam, if they won't actually give you this contract to fill out, just FYI. But if they did ask you questions and they say you're the person, you would fill out with your information. Okay? So just
Okay.
a test tip. Okay?
And the address is 2033 Winston Avenue.
city.
In Corsicana, Texas.
Is that a real place?
Yes.
Yes, it is, Mr. Stephan.
Amazing.
I'm sorry.
Well, Miss Leela, Stephan doesn't get out much, so you're good.
No, it's okay.
It's a great agent of the buyer, the Bryan College Station area.
That's
Yes.
right.
And the zip code is 75308.
Excellent. All right.
Where is Corsicana?
Is that by Dallas?
Oh, it's by Dallas?
Yeah.
Oh, I never go.
That's right. All right. So scroll on down. Now, is there anything, stop right there. Is there anything important about that last paragraph, Mr. Stahl? What if we just skip through that? Do we care about that last part?
Oh, you don't have to put anything if you don't want money.
If I put something out, I don't get no money.
You don't get no money.
Nothing, man.
Nothing?
Nothing.
So I need to put something there.
Oh yeah.
All the time?
Yep. Every time.
Okay. So is there anything talking about commission?
25%. Yeah. I love it.
Yes, it says.
I'd say 100%.
They say $5.
Oh, I love that even better.
You got a good payday, right?
That's a good payday.
Take what you're
So-
getting for the house and give me,
Yeah. So normally what would go in there? What do y'all think goes in there?
3%.
Usually it's
3%.
3%. Y'all are correct. Okay. But again, that's not,
But it says Tom has a 5%.
uh-oh.
Oh.
So
Right.
there's-
So is it $3 or 3%?
no, it's 5%.
Tom has a 5% listing with the Flemings, and Tom is offering 4% in BAC in the MLS system.
Oh, so does 5 or 4 go there, Miss Leela?
I go with the higher number.
I like it.
Yeah.
We want the
I
higher
like that
number,
strategy.
but it's actually going to be 4%,
Oh,
unfortunately.
don't do this to me.
Better than 3%.
What's some of these abbreviations confuse me? What's the BAC?
So that's basically,
Blood
that's the
alcohol content.
broker agreement is what it
Thank
is.
you.
So it's when you put a listing in the MLS, what's happening is it's a broker agreement where that broker is agreeing to pay the other broker 4% in this hypothetical. Does that
Okay.
make sense? So what's really happening if you were to play this out, the listing broker is only getting 1% to sell this property. The other broker, the one that represents the buyer, is going to get 4%. Is what's happening.
What a scheme.
So really, you want to be the buyer's broker in this transaction.
In this situation, absolutely.
Okay, I understand.
Scroll on down. Now, do we need to fill any of this out?
Oh, yeah,
Well, is there anything in there about options?
yes.
Yes, the option fee and the earnest money.
Mhm,
Okay.
that's right.
And did it say what type of form it is?
It did not.
Ah.
Okay. And do we fill this out?
So do you fill this out? Do you see anywhere in your contract where it talks about them taking the contract to the title company?
No, I do not.
Ah,
$1,500 option fee will be paid to the seller.
correct. But in this situation is, do you see anywhere where it's talking about
Remember,
it?
this is also a receipt. So
Yeah,
they have to
no,
receive that
no,
$1,500.
So this
and then fill
page
this out.
would be left blank,
That's right.
and we would then at that point move on. Now, Mr. Travis wants to make a point though about the execution date.
If you scroll up to the execution date.
Okay.
Right there, right there. So if you all remember what he was saying about this execution date, yes, the 15th of January is the date we're filling out this contract, but it is not fully executed until all parties have signed the contract.
Oh,
right.
it might be the next day.
So yes, so if you deliver this to them, but they don't sign it for 2 days, that would actually end up being the 17th of January or whatever. Or if they don't sign it at all, it would never actually get fully executed.
That's right.
Correct.
So this would actually leave blank in this situation.
Until you get it back signed.
Yes, and either the seller, when they sign everything, they'll fill this out, or if they send it back to you, you can fill this out.
I didn't fill it out until I was going to title.
That's right.
I was in title when I was doing it.
That's right.
That's right.
The very last thing. Does that make sense, Miss Leland?
Yes.
Mr. Keith, that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Mr. Colton and Mr. Garrett.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that's
Okay, so
correct.
now, Mr. Steffen, I'm gonna let you switch with Mr. Stahl. Mr. Stahl, do you see up here at the top where it says 1 to 4 payments?
Yeah.
Can you click on that, hit the back button? So you're gonna switch for a minute,
Aye.
because you're gonna now complete, because we're not done with the contract. No. We still gotta do the amendments. So go hit the back button,
Mhm.
and we need to find, scroll up a little bit, right under it, this third party. Oh, right there. There you go. Okay, download the form, and then you need to complete this contract. Now, Mr. Grossman, he's been an expert at this. What goes in the first line, Mr. Grossman?
No idea.
Copy and paste.
I just
There we
I had it saved.
All right, so Mr. Steffen, I need you to talk to the students, pick a student, and have them end up telling you what needs to be checked.
Okay.
So let me clarify real quick before he goes. In this deal, it's going to be based upon the paragraph. Okay. So if you look at 1 up there, type of financing, you will pick at least 1. You could be more, but at least 1 from that one. Okay. So Mr. Steffen, please pick somebody to help you complete paragraph 1.
Okay. I'm gonna do Eugene.
I'm gonna say A,
Say A.
conventional financing.
Conventional.
Yeah. And then I gotta do 1 or 2, don't I?
Sure do. 1 or 2.
I'm gonna say 1.
1.
Mhm.
Gotta scroll down.
Go a little bit. Okay, and the amount. Anybody can jump in and help them too.
325,000. Excluding any.
Okay, so you think 325 goes there?
You think 325?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Would that be the
What do
292,000?
See that number right here.
Mr. Keith
You are
is
correct.
100% correct there.
That would be the financing part.
You're not financing the entire loan. You're the whole thing.
That doesn't much about that.
Okay,
All right.
finance PMI due in full in blank years with interest not to exceed blank percent. What you got for me, Colton?
Let me see. Let me pull it back up. I don't have it pulled up. We're still on. We're on the Johnson Swanson, correct?
We're still in the first transaction.
Yep.
First transaction. Okay. Um.
Mm-hmm.
The term of a normal mortgage loan. Do you
Is that
know?
like 15? Nope, 30?
It'd be 30, correct?
3 years? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to these financing, are we gonna know how many years they're financing for, whether it's 15 or 30, or is this gonna be a standard?
So are you talking, Miss Leela, in regards to like a real life transaction, or are you asking about testing?
Real life.
Real life, your pre-approval letter will tell you all of this.
I got it.
So when your client gets pre-approved for their house, the lender will email you a copy of the letter, and it will state all of these things for you.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Okay, and do we get an interest amount? Okay.
I don't see one. I don't know.
No percentages for interest on.
Oh, would it be 2%?
Okay, 3%.
Yeah, 2% for
Where
this
did you
one right
get that number?
I got that from the first paragraph of the
Okay.
hypothetical.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
Or would it be 5?
2
2% a
or
year.
5. 2 or 5. 1% or 2%.
Not to 2%.
I would say 5.
Keith says 5. Anybody else?
The lender has
I think it might be 2 here and then 5 at that bottom one, where it says the loan not to exceed.
It's either 2% a year or 5% over the lifetime of the loan. So don't they have like a choice there?
Oh, okay.
I just sit down and I talked with Mr. Travis and I explained it to him so y'all see. So if you notice, it said 2 and 5.
Yes.
But if you read the
Right.
situation is 2 is per year. That's why it's saying per annual.
Oh, and yeah.
And then over the term, the total of the loan, it cannot exceed 5. Does that make sense,
Okay.
everybody?
And that is in that first paragraph.
And that's in your first paragraph.
I had another question. I'm sorry.
No, you ask all you got. Go ahead for it.
What is this? There is a 1% origination fee. What's that?
So an origination fee on this situation is going to end up basically being the for them to design the loan. So like when you go, Miss Leela, to say you get a car loan, what ends up happening is, Miss Leela, they're going to go over the person that drafts your loan is going to charge a fee for them to set up all the paperwork. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
So that's their fee.
Okay.
Okay, and that's how your mortgage brokers get paid.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to fill out for this form?
I guess we'll scroll down.
Here we go.
Okay, number 2, approval of financing. Y'all know, do we check the first one or the second one in paragraph A?
The first one.
First one, Mr. Keith? Okay. Anybody else? Linda?
Mm.
Okay. And the amount of days after the effective date of the contract.
Is it 15?
It should say 15.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Linda, Garrett, Keith, anybody?
I'm a little on the fence about that 15.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not seeing any days on that one,
Yeah.
guys and gals.
There is
So
not.
there is not a day given. So the norm in this situation, and I'll explain the importance of this to y'all, okay? Because a lot of people don't get this confused. This is extremely important because here's the thing. Say that Mr. Darren is buying a house, okay? And Mr. Darren goes out and he's purchasing a house, but he only puts, let's say, 10 days in here, okay? If for any reason his loan falls apart, okay, Mr. Darren's loan falls apart in this situation, he only has 10 days from the effective date of the contract to terminate everything and get his earnest money back if he ends up losing his buyer approval. So in this particular situation, you want to shoot it out as far as you can, okay? But most of the time, the number in here is going to be about 21. So really, here's the thing, and I actually had this happen before with a client. What ended up happening was client had till 21 days. On the 22nd day, she got fired. Had I not known the agent and we worked things out, she would have still been forced to purchase the property because closing was 8 days away. So in this situation is you want to force this number out as far as you can. Now, do you think people are going to agree with it being 30 or 35 days? No.
More than likely, no.
No. So it's normally the average is 21 days. Okay? Very important on that one. So just FYI, you want to try to shoot for 30, but it's normally going to settle around 21.
So you can put 30 and then.
Yes, you can put 30 and then you can
they'll
just
send it back.
negotiate.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Travis was talking about the executed date a while ago,
Yes.
and he said, and I agree with Travis because that is correct. But I think that maybe when I first started, I didn't really understand. If you see at the bottom of these pages, when he said sign, you see where at the bottom it says the pages, this is initial for identification. That is where they're supposed to be signatures at. Not signatures, initials,
Yeah.
initials. So that's very important as far as that too.
That's correct.
Yeah,
That's
those
once
need to
it's
be
all
initial.
completed.
Yeah.
That is right. Copy
Now,
and
you might
paste.
want to talk to Stefan on that. Oh, Stefan got, okay. He's catching. Man.
Yeah.
I think it's the address, right?
All right, so scroll on down, Mr. Stefan. Let's go back up, go back up, go back up, go back up, right there. No, we did it before. Okay, you're right, sorry. Okay, Mr. President.
All right, FHA and VA required provisions. Do we have any of those in the contract or in the scenario that we were given? No? Linda said no.
No.
It'll go NA.
Okay.
And A right here.
Mhm. Y'all agree?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and then just sign.
Yep, and then you just sign here.
That's
And that form is completed once it's signed.
Now we have to go to the lead-based paint addendum.
Do.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, boy. More of that.
That's right.
Okay. B1. Are we filling out anything in B? Do you want to take a sec to read it?
I can't see it. So.
You control it, roll it up. There you go.
It doesn't say that there was any lead-based paint in the house, but it's built after before 1976, so shouldn't it be tested for that?
Before 78, Colton, but you're correct.
Yes.
You're correct, sir. So in that situation, Colton just said there's nothing about it. So my question, Colton, is, so does the seller have any actual knowledge at all about there being lead-based paint? Would it be?
No, so you'd put NA on that because there's no known knowledge of being used with lead-based paint.
So you're going to do B1B. So box 2 there.
Right.
Very good there, Colton. All right.
That's the only one you were
I agree.
checking out. 2.
Mr. Colton, I'm going to ask you again for the next one. Does the seller have any reports or records pertaining to the lead-based paint at all?
No.
Okay, so we're going to choose A or B.
B.
That's correct.
I agree.
Now, Miss Leela,
Buyer's right.
what do you think C is? A or C1 or C2?
I want to say 2.
Okay. So Miss Leela is saying within 10 days of the effective contract, the buyer may have the property inspected by the inspector selected by the buyer. If lead-based paint or paint hazards are present, the buyer may terminate the contract by giving the seller written notice within 14 days of the effective date of the contract.
I agree.
Mr. Eugene agrees with you, Miss Leela. Mr. Keith, do you agree?
Yes, I do. I agree with her.
Mr. Gary, Mr. Colton, do y'all agree?
Yes, sir.
And Mr.
Sir.
Tanner? He fell asleep over there.
Darren, wake up.
Yep, he's asleep. So,
Must be nice.
move along to
I'm
D.
not,
Uh-oh, he said it's not.
You like the guy.
What did you
I'm on an iPad. I'm not used to using tonight, so I have to fumble around and find the buttons.
That's what happens when you give a redneck an electronic device, y'all. We're still trying to get it working out.
Sounds like
That is correct. Huntsville, Texas, coming to you live from the iPad Pro.
All right, so.
Now I can't turn my mic off. Hello,
I want
help! I got it.
All right.
All right, Miss Linda. No, Mr. Eugene.
What?
What is D?
Thank you, bud.
I want to poll the audience.
No, come on.
A 50-50 shot here. Look at
I
that.
know.
Come on.
Can you put 1 and 2?
You can.
Yes.
Okay.
You can. So do you want to poll may I get Miss Leela to help you?
There you go.
Miss Leela, Mr. Eugene's asking, what would you choose?
I would put both.
And she's correct. You would want to put both. You want to make certain that the buyer receives all the information and receives the pamphlet.
That's right.
Okay. All right, scroll down. That's it, guys and gals. I'll let y'all two go sit back at your seats.
We did it, guys.
All right. So in that
One
situation,
quick question.
yes,
I
sir.
was gonna say, for D,
Yes, sir.
this says that they have received copies of all the information.
Uh-huh.
If they haven't, because they're filling this out to get this stuff, like, it's before 1975, we want the pamphlet, whatever, would you still check that, even if you haven't actually received that stuff yet? Or would you have by this point?
You would have already had it by this
Okay,
point.
that's
You
okay.
should.
Yeah.
So before this contract is, or this form is ever completed,
Mhm.
all the documents need to be provided before you complete that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, but good question. Very good question. All right, so guys and gals, guess what? Give yourself a round of applause. You did a wonderful job this evening. Every one of you did great.
And by the way, Justin's taking us all out for supper after this.
Yes, we have the garbage can
I guess,
behind
are
McDonald's.
we getting like a gift card or something?
There you go, Wiggle.
Make sure to stay.
I'm happy with food. I love it.
Free food, y'all. I am giving all the air you want to eat. Y'all are more than welcome.
That's not food.
You can't eat air. But no, all of y'all did wonderful tonight. I'm very pleased. Now I want to ask. I'm going to go to each of you. Mr. Eugene and Miss Linda, did this tonight, by doing this, did it make sense and did it help you?
But yeah,
Do you see kind of where it went?
yeah.
It's
Still
still
use
you.
some help, but yeah.
How did you feel? Did this help you? While you're not going to know it all up front, and that's
So you're not gonna get all
understandable.
this one time.
Not all your first time.
No way.
Miss Layla, did this kind of guide you in the right direction?
Yes, it did.
Good. Mr. Keith, how about you, sir?
Yes, it did. It really helped, especially for me as being a hands-on person. This was really a big help, a lot.
Very good. I'm
I wish we
glad.
had done this in my class.
Mr. Garrett, how did you feel about tonight?
It made it where I'm not gonna have any questions when I have to fill out a 1 to 4 family.
Very good. Mr. Colton, how did you feel about it tonight?
It definitely made me feel a little bit more at ease on the whole, putting my hands on it and actually like doing it. Definitely helped out a whole lot.
Good.
I was gonna say to you guys, just, we went through this and it was a lot, but remember that when you get to the actual test, they're not gonna ask like, what's the average number of days you put in for this blank or this paragraph or whatever. It's gonna just be basic, like, paragraph 3 is the sales price, how much would you, like, you know, what is you know, C, the sum of the top 2 boxes, true or false. It's more stuff like that where it's not gonna be, you don't have to know super specifics, it's gonna just be kind of generalizations about knowing the form itself.
And they might give you a scenario like they did, or like we did today.
Yeah, it's not going to be as, what they're saying is it's not going to be as detailed, guys and gals. It's, you're not actually going to fill one of these out, okay?
You'll get a lot of questions that are like, somebody's, you know, John's buying a house for $300,000. He wants to put 10% down. How much is he putting down? It's a lot of questions like that where it's not going to be as complicated as it seems. So
Yes. And that's why I say, don't stress too much on this. I am glad of the progress y'all made. Guys and gals, you may not think you made any progress, but let me tell you something. Y'all were spotting things that I didn't think you'd spot the first time. So y'all did very good tonight. So here is what's going to happen, okay? We went through the first one. Okay, we went through the first one. Here's what we're going to end up doing. Your final exam is going to be the other 2 transactions. Okay? The other 2 transactions are going to be your final. And you will be responsible to complete the final exam. The final exam is going to be at your discretion, meaning that it's not going to be proctored on this particular stance. Okay? However, it is only 50% of your grade, the multiple choice. The other 50% is going to be off of you actually completing the forms correctly. And you will mail those forms, email, not mail, email those forms after you finish. You'll email them to me at admin@CapTech Institute, where you've been getting all the emails from. You'll email it to that email address, and I will grade them. And I will go in and I will review them, and I'll make the changes, and I'll send them back so you know. But this is going to give you an opportunity to end up if you're not good at multiple choice and you're good at hands-on, you're going to be able to, you've got a win-win. I'm setting you up for a win-win situation. You see what I'm saying? Okay. But again, in this situation, you're going to go ahead to get into your final. You'll scroll to the bottom, and at the very bottom, you'll see your final exam. You will click in, and when you click in, what will end up happening in that situation is you may begin taking your final. You only get one attempt. One attempt. Okay? So when you go in, you take the final, you get one attempt. If you make a 50, well, it's 50%. So in that situation, you could still pass the class if you do well on the practical. Okay? Now you may be like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of stuff. How am I going to do this? Blah, blah, blah. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Okay? You have everything you need in front of you. If it does not apply, put in A. That's all you got to do. Okay? Just go in and complete it to your best of your ability. You'll turn it into me once I get it. And at that point, you'll be ready to go. Okay? The question a lot of people says, when do I have to have this done by? You must have it done no later than next Friday by 5 p.m. Next Friday by 5 p.m. Okay? So you have the remainder of this weekend. You have next week. Again, you have until that time frame. Okay? All right. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and stop our recording.